In this episode, we're doing a 2-box buyer's guide for every faction. Keep in mind that I am trying to strike a balance between effective kill team and cheap as possible kill team, but where necessary, I am siding with effective kill team. So this is not simply a list of the cheapest way to get into kill team. Now in the next video, I'll be taking every faction and using the 2 boxes I recommend in this video to help you create a solid take-all-comers list. Right, there's no price limit on this. It's purely number of boxes, 2 boxes. So one faction might cost £40, whilst another faction might cost £70. I'm also going to be listing all of these prices in pounds and at full retail price. But I highly encourage you to shop around at local stores, as most of them will do a discounted price even as far as up to 25% off retail. For example, I'm going to tell you soon that the Adeptus Mechanicus kill team will cost you £53, but where I actually buy from, it would only cost me £39.75. So if the prices seem high, remember that. A quick note on start collecting boxes. Some are really good value and should seriously be considered. If you're ever thinking about expanding to regular 40k, then the value of a start collecting box will intrinsically be higher than if you only ever want to play kill team, as they come with a vehicle typically which cannot be used in kill team. Also from a value perspective, where possible, if I can make a single box kill team in this list, I will. Now a slight addendum to my 2-box rule. Yes, this is where the slippery slope begins. I'm going to be recommending 2 boxes and another single model which you can look for on eBay or convert, but isn't worth buying an entire box for. And another quick side note, yes, I know it goes on a bit, we also need to discuss kill team specific boxes. When Kill Team first released, there were several kill zones that were a limited time exclusive. If you happen to find one still on the shelf in your local store, I strongly recommend you buy it regardless of which kill zone it is. Okay, and final thing before we get into the 2-box buyer's guide, we need to discuss the currently available kill team products. There are multiple rulebooks, a starter set, an arena expansion, and one called Rogue Trader. I'm going to lay it out for you here. My buying order for the rulebooks is this: Core Rulebook, Elites Rulebook, Commander's Rulebook, Annual 2019, and Arena. Now I also have to say, you don't need to buy all of these books. You can play a great game with only the Core and Elites book. If you're really into competitive, then Arena is a great addition that you should obviously buy before Commanders, but it's not for everyone. Likewise, Commanders adds a lot of powerful units to the game, but a lot of people view it as almost a separate game to the Core and Elites, so it's not a required book. The Annual is a great collation of tactics, new factions and missions, but if you don't want to play one of the factions that are exclusive to it, then it's in no way a mandatory purchase. So, which rules you buy are ultimately your choice depending on which flavour of kill team you want to play. Okay, and the genuinely final thing before we start this guide, the kill team starter set. Currently, the only way to get a kill team board, which is 22 inches by 30 inches, is to buy the kill team starter set. It also includes the core rulebook and some great terrain, of course. Now, if you collect either of the factions included in the starter set, which is Tau and Space Marines, then honestly, I'd say go ahead and buy it. It's a great way to start the game. However, if you're being more frugal and truly going for the cheapest entry, you can skip the kill team starter set. First up, we have the Adeptus Astartes, the poster boys, who luckily are also alphabetically first. This was honestly the toughest list to make. There are so many options for Adeptus Astartes that I actually think trying to make a list under any sort of, 2-box maximum or under $50 or anything like that just doesn't work for them. However, I have decided that your best bet is to buy a box of Scouts, regular ones, not sniper rifle Scouts, and the First Strike box, which, if you don't know, gives you 3 Intercessors and 3 Reavers. This will give you quite a durable force in your Primaris Marines, and it will also give you some cheaper models in your Scouts. And they also work quite well together, for example, by taking a Scout missile launcher or heavy bolter, and the Auspex from the Primaris Intercessor. Okay, and when we come to the single model option, which you could buy off eBay or convert, it's really difficult. There are so many options here. I could recommend an eliminator, a heavy grav cannon, a suppressor. They're all good options, but ultimately, so that we can all go forward into the next video, taking the same models to create a list, I'm going to say the additional model you should buy is a eliminator. The reason for that is that by taking scouts and the first strike box, you don't really have any way of taking out certain threats, and an eliminator covers that nicely for you with 3 different weapon shooting profiles. Now the scouts and first strike box are going to set you back £42.50p. Next up we have the Adeptus Mechanicus. Now this one was actually relatively easy, although the Adeptus Mechanicus do have quite a few options. All of their options, when you actually buy them as a box, are dual kits. So the Rangers and Vanguard are 1 box. The Infiltrators and the Ruststalkers are 1 box. So that made this option quite easy. It's the Skitarii and the Sicarian box. And that comes to £53. Next up we have the Adepta Soriritas. This was a nice easy one. You want to pick up a Battle Sister squad, an Arco-Flagellant squad for £65. And as an individual miniature, I'm recommending Pious Vorn. Up next we have the Astra Militarum. Now this was a bit of a difficult one because honestly, the Astra Militarum to truly be effective need multiple purchases of plasma guns or flamers. However, at the end of the day, I went with, I think, something that people will find pretty intuitive. Acadian Shock Troops box and a box of Scions for £42.50. Not too bad. And then the individual model you're going to buy is Gottfred de Montbard from the Blackstone Fortress game, as he really brings something that the Astra Militarum don't have otherwise. With the Asuryani, there were a lot of ways I could have gone with this, but at the core of the Asuryani, you need to have a Guardian squad. Even if all you're using from it is 1 or 2 Guardians, kit bashed to have chainsaws so that you can run them as cheap as possible. And then, of course, the absolute must-have in most Asuryani lists is the heavy weapons platform. The other thing you're going to pick up is a box of Dire Avengers. Now that's going to set you back £45, and the individual model you want to buy has to be a Howling Banshee Exarch. It has so much utility, you can't miss it off your list. Custodes were a really easy one, I think for obvious reasons. You just want to pick up 1 Custodian Guard Squad, and it's going to cost you £35. I will make a quick note. A Custodian Guard Squad gives you everything you need to make every possible iteration, assuming you're magnetizing, of the Custodes for Kill Team. However, I personally think that Custodian Wardens look cooler. But if you buy the Custodian Warden box, you don't get any shields, so you can't make every possible option. And now with Demons, this was actually incredibly difficult because I kind of had to break my rules on this faction, which means they're kind of one of the most expensive factions. You need to buy Bloodletters as they get a lot of work done. Then you need to buy Pink Horrors because Pink Horrors bring you Psychic, bring you range, and bring you the most valuable thing that Demons have, their ability to split. However, the way Demons work is a Pink Horror splits into 2 Blue Horrors, and then those Blue Horrors split into 1 Brimstone Horror each. However, Blue Horrors and Brimstone Horrors don't come with Pink Horrors. They are another box you have to buy. So, odd as it might sound, the individual model you have to buy to make Demons work is a box of Blue Horrors. Yep, my bad. Now with Death Guard, this is pretty easy. You want to buy the first strike box, as that gives you access to 3 Plague Marines and 6 Pox Walkers. And then you're also going to want to pick up a box of regular Plague Marines. Now the reason behind that is that for Death Guard to truly be effective in the current competitive meta, you're going to want multiples of their big scary weapons. And that's going to set you back £55. For the individual model that you want to pick up, I would recommend a Blightlord Terminator. However, that might be quite difficult to find, in which case I would recommend Lord Felthius and the Tainted Cohort. They're an easy to build kit on the Terminator sized base, and they look pretty damn good. The reason I recommend that full box, which would actually give you 4 models instead of 1, is because it's outrageously cheap. So definitely something to keep in mind if you can't find a single Blightlord Terminator off eBay. Now with the Deathwatch, I think I'm going to surprise a few veterans when I say this. You want to pick up one Deathwatch kill team, and most people are then going to assume that you pick up a second Deathwatch kill team, but I'm going to shock you all and say you want to pick up one Deathwatch kill team and then First Strike. Now the reason you want to pick up First Strike here is because you're going to need some Primaris, and First Strike gives you 6 of them to pick from. I really picked it because I wanted to have the ability to take an Auspex and a Reaver, and for the cost of First Strike, honestly, you can't complain. And those two together will set you back £45. Now Drukhari were actually the second most difficult faction to decide what you should buy for them. They have so many different ways of building a list that when you limit it to 2 boxes, it's pretty difficult. So I went for something that isn't exactly traditional, but you want to buy 2 boxes of Mandrakes, and that's going to cost you £41. Then as an individual model, you want to pick up a Clavex, which is the Sergeant Leader model of the Incubi datasheet. The benefit of going for these boxes is that not only is it a very strong kill team in its own right, but if you do indeed find yourself liking Drukhari, you can then buy anything else from Drukhari, and because of the way their lists are built, your current existing Mandrakes and Clavex will very easily slot into whatever else you want to build with them. Now I'm going to do Elucidian Starstriders and Gellerpox Infected together. There's only one way to get them, and it's to buy the Rogue Trader expansion. There's also only one way to build them, so I don't have anything else to say about them. And that Rogue Trader expansion will cost you £80. You do get both kill teams in there, but if you're only after one, it's not the cheapest way to get into kill team. Now for Genestealer Cults, I felt there was only really one way to run them, as you need both of these core units in any regular list. So you want to buy 1 box of Neophytes and 1 box of Acolytes. That's going to set you back £50. And then for the individual model, I struggled with this, but you want to buy a Genestealer as well. Those should be relatively easy to find off eBay. With Grey Knights, this is an easy one for everyone. You want to buy 1 Grey Knights Strike Squad for £37.50, and that's it. You don't need a second one. We're going for a 1 box kill team here. However, if you do want to buy one other model, which I recommend you do, you want to buy a Terminator with Incinerator. Now, you're not going to be using that often in 100-point games, but when you eventually expand to 125, it's a really good option to have on the list. And following on from our first 1 box kill team, we come to our second 1 box kill team. It's Harlequins, and I'm recommending you pick up 1 box of Harlequin troop players. The negative to making this a 1 box kill team is that you potentially can't take exactly what you want weapons loadout wise, but I think you'll still manage. Now with the Heretic Astartes, you want to buy Chaos Space Marines. The new kit is great and gives you lots of weapon options. They are also, I'm going to say this now, very easy and come with the correct weapon options to convert them into Khorne Berserkers, which is what you're going to have to do to get around my 2 box purchase. I would also say that the old Khorne Berserkers, the official models, are pretty bad, so converting a new Chaos Space Marine is a much better idea aesthetically. The second box you want to buy is actually the Cultists of the Abyss, as I believe that is the best way to go out and get yourself cultists these days, and together those will set you back £50. And for those dedicated Kroot players out there, you want to buy a box of Kroot, a box of Kroot Hounds for £37.50, and the single model will of course be a Krootox. For the Necrons, you want to buy a box of Necron Warriors, you want to buy a box of Lich Guard, and that's going to set you back £47.50, and as the individual model, you're going to want to buy 1 Immortal. For Orks, you want to buy a box of Knobs and a box of Boys. That's going to set you back £37.50. The reason for going with Knobs over, say, Flash Gates or Burners is because the Knobs gives you access to 1 Gretchen, and you're going to need that. And we now come to our most expensive kill team. It is the Servants of the Abyss. The only way to get them these days is to buy the full Blackstone Fortress game for £95. Now, obviously, that's quite expensive if all you want to do is play kill team, but if you also value the fact that you get a pretty cool game alongside it, then it's very much a good option. With Sisters of Silence, I think I'm surprising no one when I say you want to buy a Sisters of Silence squad, the option that comes with 10 models, and that will cost you £50. Tau have a nice easy option. You want to buy Pathfinders and you want to buy a strike team. That will cost you £52.50. Now the negative here is that a lot of truly competitive Tau lists have more drones than you're going to get in just the Pathfinder and strike team box, but don't worry, you can still run them without, 12 plus drones. It's fine. They still work as an army. Okay, now for the 1,000 Suns, I'm going to be giving you, this is a one box kill team, guys. I'm not even joking here. You want to buy the Start Collecting box. Okay, now, obviously, that's going to cost you £60. That's a lot more expensive than a lot of other factions here. However, the Start Collecting box is honestly perfect. It's only £7.50 more than buying a box of Rubric Marines and a box of Zangors on their own, but you also get a super cool looking commander model in the form of Araman here. And you get an upgrade sprue for the Zangors, which you can pretty much only get in this Start Collecting box now. To be honest, it would be irresponsible of me to recommend anything else. And finally, we have Tyranids. This was an easy one for the 2 boxes that you should buy. Hormigans and Warriors. That's going to cost you £52.50. I did then struggle a little bit with which single model you should buy afterwards, because the Tyranids do have a lot of options. Ultimately, I've said you should buy a Genestealer. And the reason for picking a Genestealer over, let's say, a Lictor, which I think is a great model, is that it's very, very easy to convert one of the 3 warriors you've just purchased into a Lictor. Okay, everybody, this has been Glass Half Dead, and I hope that you have found this buyer's guide useful, all the way from the rules book to the individual factions. And as I said at the beginning of this, the next video I'm going to be releasing is taking every single faction I've just mentioned and showing you the best possible list from these 2 boxes plus 1 extra miniature that I have told you to purchase. And then you'll be able to create a nice take all comers list for every single faction, and even how to play it a little bit. And if you're completely new to YouTube and have never been on here before, can you please leave a comment, a like, and a subscribe? That would be awesome, and I will see you in the next video. I hope you've had a good day, I hope you continue to have a good day, and goodbye.